can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
There is so many things to talk about, so we're going. I don't want you. Not that you ramble on, not that you do at all, but there's so many things to speak about.
As long as one of them's not, as long as one of them's not welcome to country.
Well,
can we leave that out for one episode?
No, there'll be an adjunct to that. Do you want me to do that now?
No, let's do it. Let's do it in there. I know there's a bit going on. A lot of people are starting to listen to you. Yeah, we'll get into that later.
Do you ever take any notice of the comments people do? I only get told them secondhand. Some of them, most of them are, fantastic. But it's the ones that I love reading them. You are a has-been. Why don't you fade away? No one's interested in
At
what
least you have been, though.
No, but
when they say you're a has-been, you say, well, I have been,
No,
though.
I don't say anything.
I know,
you're
but
a
you
has-been. Why don't you fade away? You're trying to be relevant. And the people who say this are the people who listen. How would you know all this unless you're listening?
Yeah, well,
so we're giving a
shout
shout out to those people.
The people that have something negative to say on social media. I've said this heaps of times before. Like you, and this is the other amusing thing about that, if there's two people on this earth that some little snotty-nosed grommet that sits behind a keyboard and makes comments about you or I, or anyone for that matter.
It's fantastic.
You reckon there's two people on this planet that would give a shit less than you and I?
And I enjoy, because I take your point. People they'll get half firm, sitting behind their word processor, punching the stuff out, thinking that this will make us fade away and we'll sink into our shell. I love it because the very fact they're listening, and I say thanks for listening.
And for all those people that are negative, I'd tell you one of the things that I get out of this show is coming in here speaking to an intellectual man, albeit hung up on a couple of things, an intellectual man that makes me laugh, and I walk out of here and I actually genuinely have a smile on my face for the rest of the day. You make me think about things a little bit differently.
Right.
When I'm driving now, I'm not cutting off people as much. I'm driving a little slower.
Well,
I'm doing all of these things because of coming in here and chatting to you. I'm more intelligent. I'm using words better. I say H instead of H.
Yeah.
I just learned something every podcast that we do.
Well, how fantastic that you've just mentioned that. You would think we have an empathy because you know not what I'm going to ask you and I know not what you're going to ask me, but you've just said it. I was going to open with this because, trivial as it is, the Infrastructure Victoria have determined that we're going to have 30 kilometres an hour speed limits in city streets. Who sits down with that bullshit and says that driving a car at 30k through the inner suburban streets is a fantastic thing to save people, pedestrians, bikes, dogs, anyone that strays onto the road? Who comes up with this nonsense? It is absolute crap. And you, as I know, do you know the three things that cause deaths and bloody injury are truck drivers? The majority of them, that's over 50%. Mm-hmm. I know we get a lot of blowback.
Well, you know the stats, put it better than I do. Pedestrians,
bike riders, motorbike and push bike.
Push bikes, yep.
And arrogance, you taking up the left-hand lane and cutting in and people saying, fuck you. Why we have to, it is impossible to drive. This is nothing more Infrastructure Victoria. I don't care who you bring on here. I've known more about road safety and driving than you've had hot breakfasts. This is nothing more than a revenue-raising scheme to save our state debt.
Well, the thing about politics, as you know, there's always one person will take one side. It's all about vote getting for whatever reason. I'm not sure you're going to get votes by bringing the speed limit down to 30, but I concur with everything you just said then. One of my bugbears is, and we've spoken about this, the bikes. Bikes shouldn't be on the road at all. Bikes should be on a bike track, which is where, and there are bike tracks, you can ride from here, and I know this, from here to Essendon and further. Mm. You go along, you go in and along, you're off roads
along
completely.
The Maribyrnong.
That's, exactly right. That's where you eventually end up. But It is. I don't know why. And now you go through the city. You drive in towards Crown there as you go up City Road, and then go left towards Crown. All of that there's only one lane now because that's all bike lanes. And how many people are riding to work every day? Do you reckon?
None.
Bugger all. We're not in Amsterdam. Are we? We're trying to turn it into Amsterdam.
30k reduces not the risk of not one death on the road. If you're a pedestrian, keep off the roads until the lights say you can walk across. Don't push the lights unless you have an intention to walk across. And it is absolute nonsense. The logical extension is we'll get it down to 20. We'll get it down, and in the end. It is just so forelock tugging. It is pathetic. Infrastructure Victoria, please get someone with some brains or some intelligence or some empathy for what goes on in this community.
Yeah, I just think we're trying to turn the city into people. They're trying to encourage people to ride bikes into work. Yeah. And you know why you don't? The majority of the reason why you don't, because you end up with helmet hair. And if you didn't have to wear a helmet, I'd actually ride. I'd ride more to certain events.
Yeah, because your tresses would flow out the bottom of the helmet.
Well, exactly.
Your hair's just clinging on as we speak.
Thickened up.
Well, think of me.
Mossy. Think of me. Well, the other day you were whinging because Sue you got a bit of a short haircut.
Yeah.
It's growing back.
I tell you what.
It's not a wig, is it?
Not
all
of it.
Being facetious.
Some of it is.
No, the main reason, because if you have to ride, let's say you've got to ride 10K, right, and you're not dilly-daddling, you're actually having a bit of a crack.
Pushing
you know
on.
what? So let's make this a two-pronged thing. A little bit of fitness on the way into work. So you go in, you've got your little backpack on. Now let's say you've got an office job, which is, by the way, where they're wanting you to ride to, unless you're working in a car yard or something. You're generally going in there and you've got to wear a suit and a tie, I'd assume, or if not a tie, an open shirt and a jacket. Now you're squishing all that into your backpack for starters because you've got your Lycra on, right? And you ride in there. You should be going at a fair clip if you want to get some exercise out of it. Then you get in there, you're all sweaty. Your sweaty's a mangy dog. You've got to put your shirt and whatever. You've got helmet hair. Like it just doesn't work.
If we get the speed limit down any lower than 30, it'll be mandatory not to wear a helmet. You won't have to.
We shouldn't have to anyway.
It
should be your choice.
It should be your choice. And so, that's irresponsible to say that.
It should be your choice.
It should be if you get
kids up to a certain age, but then once you hit legal age, or whether it be if you want to legal age to have a drink is 18. So from 18 onwards, if you want to wear a helmet, wear it. If you don't.
Well, someone should tell the Lord Mayor Nick Rees that this is ridiculous. I hope it doesn't come into mind you. You can't drive at 30k in the city because of this. Traffic's gridlocked, so it doesn't matter. You just crawl along.
It is hard now.
I wonder if you ring up the Lord Mayor's office, we could not have that welcome to the bongarongery country.
You know the best Lord Mayor that
Did you hear that?
Yes.
You ring up the Lord Mayor's office or City Council.
Who is the Lord Mayor at the moment? Is
Nick
it Cooter?
Rees.
Cooter.
No, Nick Rees.
Should have been Cooter.
Sue was on his ticket to make the city more healthy.
Well, Cooter was giving away free exercise, free coffee. Still couldn't win.
Yeah, well, Sue was on the platform, holistically making the wellness of city. Still waiting to get a portfolio, incidentally. But if when you ring the Melbourne City Council, if we could stop them saying welcome to the city of Barongarong or what, it is the city of Melbourne. That's the city that the Lord Mayor is the Lord Mayor of Melbourne.
Rob Doyle was the best Lord Mayor we had.
Yeah, he erred, didn't he?
Hey?
He erred.
Erred,
didn't he?
Yes, I know.
There's another word.
I'm not very well. I'm not well read on his whole situation.
He's a good man. I
thought he was our best Lord Mayor. I thought he was brilliant. You know what? He was approachable.
Yeah. What about John Soe?
John who?
No, not who.
Wouldn't know him if I found him in my soup.
Johnny Soe was a Lord Mayor, and
how long ago?
Before
Oh, before Doyle. Oh, yeah. Well, see, I don't remember. Doyle was a
Very
Lord man for a
good.
long time, wasn't he?
Well, he was verbose and could speak. John So, you couldn't understand one word he said.
Yeah, I don't
He's a
remember.
very good man, but
I don't remember Soey.
Soey. Yeah.
Well, that would have been his nickname.
Johnny So.
Hey?
Soey, you reckon, would have been? Maybe Johnny would be his nickname.
Well, generally the nickname comes from the last
So anyhow,
name. Dane Swan is Swanee.
You're the duck.
Paul Licuria is Liquor.
Liquor.
There's you generally get your nickname from your last name.
Now, so that I wanted to. I know that's just a bit trivial, but when I saw that, I thought, who sits down around a board meeting and thinks, "Oh, let's reduce the speed limit. That's fantastic. That'll save lives. That will make people more infuriated. That is nothing more than a revenue raiser to try and sheet home the
As
debt."
long as, look, if it's 30, it's 30. As long as it doesn't go from 30 to 40 to 60 or within 100 metres.
And Steve, who's from Drive Safe, we went out and did that driving course.
I remember. The one of which you failed miserably, that one?
Only just not because I didn't drive nicely.
Well, you just failed basic fundamental rules. And one of the most basic fundamental rules is if it's a stop sign, you must stop. You can't just.
I did stop. I
because
stopped.
you stopped behind the car in front of you. What you failed to understand, which that one of the number one rules when you get your L's and your P's, is that car has to stop. That when you're the first car to that stop sign, you have to stop also. You can't roll through it. Of which you failed. But anyway, we won't go into that.
Steve said, if you would like a refresher course on etiquette and not being impatient and being arrogant on the road, you would be a candidate he'd like to have a chat
Really?
to. Yep.
We should do it, film it. We should go and let's
I've
film.
already filmed it.
Film me and I'll show you how easy it is to pass, unlike you.
Well, we won't go down the back streets of Carlton where he did. What we'll do is we'll get out into heavy traffic going somewhere and just let's have a look at you navigate the traffic.
Like anything, I'm a chameleon. I just adapt to what. If I've got him sitting next to me, I'm going to drive like you, driving Miss Daisy. I know. I keep saying driving Miss Daisy, but I don't think she drove. She got driven.
No, that's right.
She had a driver.
Yeah,
anyway, if I was doing a driving test, Sam, I would be correct in everything that I did, unlike what you did.
So I want to ask you this:
Yes.
if you're on a panel or something and you're asked your opinion about sport or something, and you give it, would you think that your career is in jeopardy because you have an opinion because you've been asked it? Yep. Would you think that you would be in line to be cancelled because most people don't agree with your position or opinion?
We're losing the freedom of speech. There's no question about that.
Do you think it was fair that Marty Sheargold, who said he didn't like the Matildas, he thought they were a underage girls' side.
He said they were.
Beside him saying he would like to hammer a nail through his penis rather than watch them, which was extravagant and salacious, and said he could stick it up your ass. Beside him saying all that,
I'll be matter of fact, Sam.
Yes.
I thought what he said was the way he said it was tactless.
Yes.
The way he said it was tactless. His opinion on whether he likes female soccer
sport,
that's his own. It's the way he delivered it. Should have he lost his job over it? I don't think so.
I agree 100%. I'm not sure why hammering a nail through your cock is that.
No, he was tactless the way he delivered it. But
there's plenty of women's sports
there's a lot of people
love
out
watching. And there's plenty of men's sports I don't like watching. And if I was asked my opinion on the Matildas, I would say, and then I notice everyone had a meltdown and started weeping and saying it's putting girls off playing soccer. On the contrary, if someone like Sheargold said he thought they were a pretty ordinary side, it might inspire young girls to actually go and play the sport and lift the standard.
I don't know about that because he was trying to be funny. Unfortunately, it fell flat. I don't know, Marty. I don't find him funny anyway.
I don't know him.
So what I will say this about the Matildas, and this isn't set up. I'm saying this. When they were in the World Cup, they finished fourth fourth. I think they ended up finishing. They didn't quite
well.
Yeah,
they're a second-tier international side.
Hang on, they were that World Cup captivated the country.
It did.
Right? And when I say captivated the country, so you're talking about
I watched it.
ex-has-been footballers.
Yes.
Put my hand up. And I remember being at a couple of venues in St Kilda. We were going over to a mate's house for a barbecue. We didn't leave. There was one particular game, the whole pub.
Yep.
I've watched grand finals in pubs. I've watched prelims. I've watched Rugby World Cups. I've watched Cricket World Cups. I've watched Mike Tyson fight. I've watched UFC fighters all in pubs. I don't think I've ever seen a pub erupt like they did when
they
the
got a goal.
Matildas and Sam Kerr kicked a couple of goals late in a game. The atmosphere that created. I'm getting goosebumps even talking about it, to be honest.
You're giving me goosebumps.
Because it captivated not only the pub, but it captivated the whole of Australia.
It did.
So from that point of view, then you get Marty, who's not funny and who has tried to be funny.
Yeah.
And it's fallen flat.
It did.
And it fell very flat.
It
In
did.
actual fact, pancake sort of scenario flat. In saying that, other than like I said, the tactless way he delivered his gag, he shouldn't lose his whole career over it.
No.
Now, I wouldn't think...
But one goes with the other, doesn't
I wouldn't
it?
think because of his gag either that people would be lining up to watch him in a comedy festival either.
No, but one goes with the other. He is. If he hadn't said "stick a nail through your dick" and all that stuff, and said, "I just don't like the Matildas," I think I'm not. This is not my opinion.
No.
But if he just said, "I don't like the Matildas. They're a second-rate side. They're not as good as they think they are," all that sort of stuff. And I'm not discouraging people from. I was the same. I watched the Matildas that game, and because they're playing for Australia,
That's right.
we loved it.
If he wasn't trying to be funny and he said, "Look, from the World Cup onwards, their results have been disappointing."
They have.
Right? They haven't lived up to that.
They haven't.
Hype, right? Now you can say that. And how you turn that into a joke, I don't know. Clearly, he tried to, and it didn't work. But they haven't lived up quite to what they did in the World Cup. We still have, still not at our absolute strength. We don't have our absolute full team.
We don't have the role model in Sam.
Correct. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no,
we don't
Sam
have our
Kerr.
full team.
No, the role model.
She is Sam in the top, and this is. It's not even argumentative because the argument is about probably the top three players in the world. You can flip 1 to 2 to 3 or whatever. She's in that bracket, Sam.
Is she?
She is. So when she plays for our country, her country, she makes a hell of a difference. Just like any super
Like
player.
when you
in any
played
team.
for the
Just
Kangaroos.
like when Maradona played, and just like when Ronaldo
cheat.
plays and Messi and all these guys play.
I call
they make a big difference.
I called Maradona a cheat once on this show when he died.
That's a bit. Well, hang on. How did he cheat?
Well, this was an attempt to be humorous, tongue in cheek. How did he cheat? With the hand of God. You remember that?
I know.
He
But
handballed the ball.
It was the umpires.
That's my point. It was just a tongue-in-cheek throw. And did I get a nice pacing? I said, he knew he touched the ball. He should have said to the umpire, "Sorry, that was handball. I touched it."
Are you into what? Oh yeah, of course.
No, I was
sports
just-
people are really good at that.
No, I know
Do
that.
you? I don't know whether you've watched or you're into watching documentaries, but there's a Wayne Rooney documentary, there's a Maradona documentary. Like I'm into watch the Maradona documentary and listen to his
Beckham?
life. Yeah, look,
Beckham's
I
a good
I like
documentary.
Beckham, but the problem with Beckham's is he produced it, so
Oh, yeah,
it was
I see what
always
you mean.
going to be a little one-sided towards.
Yeah.
He didn't bring up
when he-
other sort of stuff, but you're not going to do that if you're producing your own show. What I like about the others, and I like Beckham's, by the way, he does come across very well in it, as does Posh. I think they come across very different to what
He
many
just
people
brushed
would
past
think.
the indiscretion he had
But
when Posh wasn't there.
But Posh spoke about it a little bit.
Bit.
Well,
I tell you who'd make a great doco.
Who?
You're good. What? You, let's. That man that you said you spoke on the phone to. What's his name? Dylan.
Dylan. Yes.
Does he do docos?
Dylan Howard.
Let's put a doco together of the duck. You won't have anything to do with it.
We don't need a doco of
The duck?
me. No.
Why
I
not?
wouldn't have thought.
Who in Australia?
I'm trying to move on with my life, not continue to bring up things that happened 20, 30 years ago like people continue to do. For whatever reason, people like to continue to live in the past. That's what I like to live in the now and what's going forward. I'm not looking in the rear view mirror, which you do too often when you drive. So
That's correct.
I like
keep
to-
an eye on who's trying to tailgate me.
You know what mirror I look at? The big one there.
Yeah.
I look forward.
So if we did a doco, well, I don't know what the date is today. What is today?
Third, is it the third or the fourth? The fourth.
Fourth.
Fifth. It's the fifth.
The 5th of March.
Boy, Jesus,
well, if we did a
flying.
doco on you, we'd say, now this is a doco on the great Wayne Carey, and it's nothing that's happened before the 6th of March 2025.
It'd be pretty boring.
So what did you say?
It'd be pretty boring.
But exactly, Duck. We could trace
Well, it
your
probably wouldn't
great
be boring, but
What have you? If you did it only from this week on, it'd be pretty boring. You know,
I've got a full
if you're in the
day ahead, I've got a
if you're in the-
funeral.
what?
I said I've got a full day ahead.
Oh yeah, that'd be terrific. Going down, watching you go to a funeral in a bag of fruit, and just incidentally, do you know you've become a professional attendee? People pay you to go to bereavements. Do you know the person? You don't even know the person you're going to a funeral.
I do so.
Well, who is it?
Kathy.
No,
So
you don't have to mention
her name's
their name.
No, her name's Kathy. I won't mention her last name.
How do you know them?
She is one of my best mates, who, by the way...
You don't have to mention the
no,
name.
because
best mates what?
One of my best mates.
Wife.
Mother-in-law.
You, one of your best mates' mother-in-law.
I'm
You're
very
going
good
to her
friends-
funeral.
I'm very good friends with. I'm very good friends. I knew her parents very well, and I was good friends with Sam as well. I shouldn't have said her name anyway. Surname's Sam, by the way.
Yeah.
Sam
And
is a
you're-
very good friend.
and
I've
her-
known them forever as a
it's
couple.
it's his mother-in-law.
And I used to go and stay at their house at Sorrento, Portsea. We used to go down there. We'd stay there. So Mum was a vivacious woman that she was always
Steady.
having a bit of fun with her son-in-law.
Steady.
And I used to have a bit of fun
no.
with son-in-law. So we got along because we just like to
Shoot the breeze.
hang crap on the same subject, which was
see.
her son-in-law.
So you're going to a friend of yours' mother-in-law's funeral
today. Yep, I am. It's called Respect, Samuel.
Well, it's called just you're
I don't.
a professional theatre goer,
By the way,
professional mourner.
I missed a couple of funerals this year, and I'm very sad that I missed them. A great man, and I'd like to, now that we're onto this topic, I'd like to give a shout out to Barb Cheatley, and you'd remember
Yes,
Barry
I do.
Cheatley.
I do indeed.
Barb and Barry, wonderful people, and
Yep,
I
I
wasn't
do.
able to get to Barry's funeral, and I felt terrible because Barb to this day sends me birthday cards,
No,
and
yep.
they're just
Barry
a
was a
lovely
good man.
people. Yeah, and I wasn't able to get to his funeral, and there's been a couple of others as well this year
Did you go?
last year that I wasn't able to get to, and I unfortunately,
Would you come to my funeral?
of course I'd come to yours. You know what? You're about 80 years from. You might live to 160. You are the fittest, best looking 80-year-old man I reckon in the world.
And all other places.
In the world.
And all other places.
Did you see? I saw a photo of Pierce Bronson the other day.
Brosnan?
Brosnan. What did I say?
Bronson.
Oh, he was an actor too.
Charles Bronson.
Charles Bronson was
Yeah.
an actor. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's all right.
I saw a photo of him. I saw a picture of him the other day. He's your age. You look 30 years younger.
Yeah.
What's your secret? Give everyone out there, because I'm not joking when I say this. I'm not taking the piss here.
No, not much.
What's your secret? Are you oil of Ulan?
Oil of Ulan?
Are you
No,
moisture
bio oil.
You use a lot of bio oil?
Wayne, please.
Do you use
Well,
other than I know you've had a little bit of of needling done.
Yeah, no.
You've had a little bit of nip tuck and
Yes.
whatever. A little bit of
Yes.
right.
No, I'm happy to say
But
that.
I'm talking about physically. If you put your head you could pass, and you could pass as a 45-year-old man.
It's about
50-year-old man.
It's called genes. Do you want me to give you my?
I know all-
do you want me to give you the? You know.
So genetics. So your father, mother. You were about to do another joke then.
I
weren't you?
was. I was going
Okay.
to. I was going to say, premature ejaculation is hereditary. Do you know that?
Is it?
Yeah, it comes in your genes.
Oh, we get a gag every week.
Wondering how I could work that into it.
Get a gag every week. No, and I was talking. A few people have said it now. I sit across here, and I've got to remind myself because someone asked me how old is, and then I said, no, he's 80.
You want to read some of the comments? People say you're a has-been, and this bloke said, "What is wrong with the way you walk?" Bloke said, "I don't know how he sees me walking." He said, "I think it was a bloke." He said, "And you walk, what's wrong with you?" He said, "You walk, your face is shiny, you fucking, what have you done to yourself?"
Actually, I've noticed I'm shiny.
Yeah,
Someone
no,
showed
they say
me.
you're shiny.
Well, guess why?
You look like a
You
mirror.
know what? It's called moisturiser. Now, Mick Martin used to call it moisturiser.
Might you're right.
That's what Mick used to call it, moisturiser.
I gave Mick Martin.
I said to Mick one day, and this is for everyone out there that wants to look like Sam when they're 80 years of age, and why I'm shiny, because I literally had a shower, put moisturiser on because I got the funeral, and I'll get home from here, I'll whack a bowl of fruit on and go straight there. But the reason why
There's a list of topics I'm trying to get to speak to you. But
I said
go
to
ahead.
Mick Martin one day, I came off, we're at, I'll never forget, Princess Park, we just played Carlton. Mick probably had 5 kicked on him, sticks Kernan, I don't know. Anyway, we've had a shower. Remember, only one shower worked. So I was in there first as captain. Anyway, I get out, Mick gets out, sitting next to me, and I'm getting changed, and I'm putting all this cream on my face and, on the body. And Mick goes, "Doc, what's that?" I said it's moisturiser. And he goes, "Moisturiser?" I said, "Yeah, moisturiser." I said, Mick, I said, "You put it on." I said, "It'll stop you, get wrinkles later. Moisturises your skin. We've just been out playing in the sun for many hours." I said, "You just rub it on." I said, "You do it every shower, morning, night." And I said, "When you get older, you'll be thanking me." He goes, "Oh, moisturiser." And I said,
You only want to take him off. That's why you're
And I
telling
said,
us.
"Mick, in actual fact, don't bother. It's probably not going to do you. Probably not going to do you."
Like putting lipstick on a pig.
He's a great man, Mick.
He is.
He does like that story. Oh, I think he likes it.
No, he does. I was on Triple M when I used to go to the football, and I gave Mick Martin 3 votes.
Worst on.
No, I gave him the best on the ground.
Oh.
Just a bit of a lateral vote.
Oh,
he
to get him.
never had a kick, but he did stop. He did stop the bloke who was on him. I don't even know. But I thought
I think he played on all the greatest.
Yeah.
He played on Ablett, Dunstall,
never
Lockett,
had a kick.
Lowe,
He didn't. Never took a mark. He just
Kernahan.
niggled them and pested the shit out of them.
Like he played
On 2 or 3 opponents, never had a kick.
The poor bugger every week had to wake up and playing on one of the all-time greats just about every week.
That's
I
right.
mean, it must have been
Yeah.
the mental drain on that man, and played 300 games. Now, he's a superstar, Mick. He's a star.
He is.
In saying that, he never cottoned on. So that's why that's why shiny. And yeah. Anyway, and I also use, for the little tip out there, I don't use shaving cream. I use moisturiser.
Do you?
Yeah. To shave with, like actual moisturiser.
Why don't you start while they're doing a doco on you, why don't you start a reality show on Wayne's tips? Wayne,
My beauty tips.
Beauty tips. Yeah, why don't you get through?
You know what? I can picture. I know already now. I can see it. Now, as good as you look, you'd be an old school with the old brush like this, wouldn't you? You'd be doing this still.
Well, not the brush.
Mate, that went out with ABBA.
Went out with Abba. Yeah, no, I don't do the brush.
Hey, no, you know what? You put a bit of moisturiser on.
No, but you put the
QV, by the way, I
black.
use.
It's black
got no
shaving cream.
preservatives in it.
Black.
QV moisturiser.
Okay.
It's the
Black
best.
shaving cream, and you put it on, and then do the blade. I like the blade. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I always use a blade, but I've got a Gillette.
Not
but
today, you didn't.
No, I didn't, because I've gone. I want to go the rugged sort of
At the funeral.
rugged, good-looking look.
You're going like at the rugged. You're going to your mother-in-law, the friend of your mother-in-law's. You're going just in the rugged look down there.
Sometimes I'd like to because Dennis Pagan used to always say, and I caught up with Harry Unglick, the ex-AFL North Melbourne doctor, the other day. I walked in like this. He goes, geez, could have had a shave.
Yeah.
So Dennis Pagan's big thing was, if I walked into training like this or to a game, he'd go...
You'd had an all-nighter.
He'd pull me aside and go, you got something to hide, son. He always thought that if you had a beard, you were hiding something.
Yeah, you'd had an all-nighter.
No, well,
hadn't
just
been home.
hiding. No, he knew. I always come in with the strawberry chewies on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning.
Meaning?
The strawberry chewies.
Yeah, which
chewing gum.
I know that.
Yeah.
What was the what's
Well,
the
to
significance?
cover up, you had a few drinks the night before.
Oh, the Bundys and Cokes.
No,
and that.
I was only a beer man, but
I see.
But
You hadn't got onto rosé at that stage.
no, the rosé was later. So you always have the chewies, and he knew. So I'd come in smelling as fresh as a daisy with the chewies and the
I'll never forget Sticks Kernahan's brother at
David.
at the restaurant. What was it called?
Rosetta?
Not Rosella's. No, not
Rosella.
Rosella's. Where's the one in Middle Park there? Versace? No. Fuck.
Ricardo's.
Ricardo's. You came in and, I'm sitting there with Sue and a friend, Sticks...
Corey McKernan.
His ex-missus,
Corey McKernan's
ex-squeeze.
Yep.
And... Sticks Kernan's brother's there. He said, "I'll have a Peroni, I think." And the girls were drinking beer. And
Sticks' cousin it was.
Yeah, well, that's right. And he said, "Wayne, what'll you have?" And you said to Anna, the attendant, he said, "You wouldn't have a rosé, would you?" He actually fell backwards off
Johnny
his chair.
Kernahan.
John Kernahan fell backwards off his chair. He said, "You want a what?"
Sometimes you're talking about some restaurant, and I just got thrown then because it's Ricardo's in Albert Park.
That's it.
Very nice. Very nice.
Well, and you not only did you want a rosé, you wanted to have a look at what sort of rosé it was, not just the house rosé. The woman, Anna, brought out 2 bottles and said, "Which one of these?" And you read the back of it.
I didn't read the back of it.
You
I just said, I've had that one before. That's a French one.
This is it's.
I like to be local though. I like to go local generally. Well, you've got to keep the money in our country, Sam.
Now, I agree. Why do people drink New Zealand wine from Marlborough region over in New Zealand?
You should be looking
Drink
after.
our wine.
Yeah,
no, that's it. That's
we do it well. So we should look after our own.
Now, I wasn't going to bring this up necessarily in front of you. I've never been staggered. Marty Sheargold thing, the hysteria over that was extraordinary. Okay, so they sacked him because he was a bit salacious and a bit rude, and I don't know if it was your opinion or not. I went to a fundraiser for Sam Groth, who is going to be the next Deputy Prime Minister. If the Liberals don't win the next state election, they may as well actually nail up the whole building. And I went there and I said, so I rang him up and I said, would you come on and have a chat? And he eventually got back to me. Now, he didn't say this, incidentally, but he said, look, I've been advised not to come on the podcast and have a chat. I said, yeah. He said, because you gave a platform to a neo-Nazi and the party doesn't want to be associated with you. And I thought, well, I'll be fucked.
Well, that means he won't speak to Channel 7, Channel 9, Triple M. He won't speak to anyone because they all replay it.
And now this wasn't him. He's a good man
and
he likes me. And I went to one of his fundraisers and I spoke at it. And, and I thought, how insecure can a political... because I happen to speak to some... I'll tell you who I've spoken to. I'll write this...
Hang on, but listen to this. But the President of the United States went on Joe Rogan.
Yep.
Right? Went on Joe Rogan. Yep. Now, Joe gives a platform to a lot of people.
Yep.
Because what he does is a podcast. And he doesn't agree.
Doing.
No, this is what I'm saying. When is Australia going to catch up? Or are we ever going to catch up? We are becoming... Did you listen to Dana White's spray that he gave the Australian media?
I did.
Did you listen to that?
Yep.
And do you agree?
From the wrestler, from the
do you agree with, like, he was scathing on how we go about things here. We are becoming worse than the Poms. We are becoming, it is just, it's terribly, it is. It's, what do you do?
So I said to...
What do you do?
I said,
anyway,
I've interviewed felons, on this podcast, felons, murderers, bank robbers, porn stars, embezzlers, sports cheats, gangbangers. I would interview. I would interview Harvey Weinstein if I could, Ghislaine Maxwell, who was Jeffrey Epstein's enabler. I'd interview Jeffrey Epstein. I'd interview the leader of Hamas if they would come on. And I wanted to interview a neo-Nazi to see what the fuck they're on about. And for the Liberal Party to say he wouldn't come on because I spoke to a neo. It is frightening. How insecure can those people be?
I thought once people understood exactly what occurred with that interview and listened to the interview, Jesus. I think that you had nothing to worry about. But Sam, I've met Sam a few times.
He's a good man.
Yeah, he seems like he's.
He'll probably
the
be
times I've met him,
Deputy Prime Minister.
I hope he is. I think he articulates himself really well. He comes from obviously not a political background, which I'm tending to lean towards these days, because they have a completely different view and they're not trained in the crap that they continue. So. I'm happy for him.
I'm looking at the clock. I'm going to.
Geez, it goes quick, doesn't it?
So I'm just going to broach this subject, and then there's a little block here of sport that I want to canvass with you.
Yeah, the footy season's
so I got a call from Tony Sheehan.
Did you?
Yeah.
When?
He was during the week. He was trying to help me secure an interview that I'm going to do today.
Oh, who's that with?
Well, I should make sure that it happens, but I'm told it will happen. So I don't want to preempt it.
Oh, okay. Well, don't say it.
No, I'm not being secretive.
No, well, don't
but if I
it
say it's going, then it doesn't happen.
Well, if Tony's involved, it might.
No, he was helpful. And I did ask him, and he said, would you stop bagging me about... speaking about me and taking still not. I said, I haven't done any of that, Tony. I did say on this podcast that you're a friend of ours and you've been on here, and it is public knowledge.
Where is he at the moment, Tony? Does anyone know? Did he say where he was?
I think he's domiciled back here.
Is he in Sydney? Is he in Melbourne?
I don't think so.
Is he on the Gold Coast?
No, I don't. I think he's here.
Because when you're on the Gold Coast, there's a reason why.
I think he's here amongst us.
He's here, right.
And I said, I didn't. It was public knowledge. You're a person of interest. And he said, no, I'm not. I said, of course you are, Tony. You're in the paper every other month.
Well, why? What's happened? What are you?
Well,
and
you last week, you got so defensive, and I said,
because
I wasn't implicating you at all.
I know, but it's very. Look, if I had my way. When things bob up, I'm very protective of one's.
Things bob up. Someone said that he was in court in Wagga, and I said, "Is he? What for?"
Well, yeah, but it wasn't Wagga, was it?
No, and I said to you last week on the podcast, Wayne, I said, Tony Sheehan, you said, don't, what? I said, just a minute, you don't even know what I'm going to say. Tony Sheehan has had to appear in the Cootamundra court. And you said, I didn't say. I didn't say.
Cootamundra, I think it's about 40 minutes from Wagga.
You're doing it again. You didn't tell me it was in Cootamundra. No. Someone texted me and said you were wrong. It wasn't Wagga, it was Cootamundra. And as soon as I said that, you said, oh, no, well, I'm going now. I said, just settle down. Now, so I said to Tony...
what was he doing in Cootamundra?
I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
He probably drove it. So he said, stop mentioning it. I said, Tony, I have been... They mention Wayne and I every other week about something we've done, but in the past I've lost my licence for drink. I said, why were you in the Cootamundra court? He said, I was trying to get my licence back.
Right.
I've since found out.
How'd he go?
I've since found out why he was in the...
Did he get it back?
I've since found out that court documents show this.
This is sounding like he didn't drive back from Cootamundra.
I'm hesitant to say why he was in the court because he'll go berserk.
Why?
Because,
okay. Well, go. I have got no idea, but I get the feeling that he didn't drive home.
He was up on 2 convictions. in the Cootamundra court.
Yep.
One was driving on drugs.
Driving on drugs.
Oh, well, I think
No.
he had,
No. Wouldn't be that.
wouldn't it? No.
No.
Okay.
No.
And the other was giving a false name.
Driving. Well, you looked it up, did you? Did you look it up? Did you actually look it up, like everyone can? It's for public consumption. Oh, well, I don't have to read it, but I.
Oh, you don't read it. You're not implicated because you
I don't have to
it.
read it, but yeah, Sam.
What's it say?
Unfortunately, he was telling you. He was, by the look of this, he was telling you the truth. He was trying to get his license
Back, yep.
back, but he got caught driving without a license.
Yes, that's correct.
And and then it says here, and then and I think.
Yeah, what?
Well, and he gave a false name, an address or something. But he might have said his name was Tony when his name's Anthony, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
His name's Anthony,
Quite right.
his name's Tony. Anyway.
So we're not tipping him in?
No, I wouldn't. They're not on the... Oh, look, driving without a licence and giving a false
He
name.
represented
an address,
himself?
Yes, well, he's
Yeah.
a smart guy, so he probably
He is.
saved himself.
I wonder if he cross-examined himself. Incidentally, I'd like to cross-examine Mr. Sheehan, and the judge said, "That's you." He said, "Oh, so it is." Tony, yes.
Do you
He could have a conversation with himself.
There was a what's his name? Ted Bundy represented himself in court too.
The serial killer.
The serial killer, yeah. Have you watched those documentaries? But I'm not comparing Tony to
We
Ted
could do
Bundy.
a doco on Tony Sheehan. Yeah. Ricky Nixon.
We've got to find him first. I don't know. I don't even know where Tony is.
And
I think, you know what, last time I heard Tony was back in Sydney.
I don't think I spoke
and he's
to him
back
here.
in Double Bay, I reckon, in Sydney. That's what I've heard.
So he got fined for each of those.
I think he's back with
things.
his-
He got
he's back
fined
with
for
his ex.
driving and for a false name. He got fined.
Yep. What was the fine?
Well, I think it was $500.
So $500. Okay, well
Each.
that's $500 each. There's
and
$1,000.
he got 12 months suspension, I think, of his license.
Yep.
Which I've lost my license for 18 months when I was 0.18 caught driving.
By the sounds of it, then he's probably done all right.
He snuck out, and he said, and I couldn't quite agree with this. He said that there were mental health problems, and he used that as a bit of a reason why he had transgressed. And we feel for, and if you do have mental
How did he
health problems,
sound?
we should give out the helpline.
How did he
shouldn't
sound
we?
when you how did he sound?
He was ebullient. Ebullient. Ebullient means.
What's that mean?
Ebullient means up and about.
Up
He
and
was-
about.
he was-
yeah.
he was
Well,
buoyant.
I assumed
Buoyant.
a buoyant, yes.
And he's a good man. And if he hears us speaking about this, he'll ring me up and he'll say, "What are you doing?"
Oh,
I
well,
said,
put it
"I'm
this way,
just-"
at least we put it in context, and we didn't say,
did.
and you didn't say he was going here and going there.
No.
In actual fact, I
He's
think
faced the music.
he would prefer you to talk about it than someone that's going to blow it out of all proportion.
Bring up all his past misdemeanors
exactly
and like
right.
you and
Yeah,
me. Then
exactly.
So good on you, Tone. So if you want to see him, you're going to have to drive down and
honestly,
see him because he's not allowed to drive.
I hope it's going okay. But by the way, Double Bay's a nice area.
He's
that's
not
where
in
gone.
Double Bay. He's down here on the coast. I think.
No, he's
he's
Double
here.
Bay when I last
Was he?
heard. Yeah. Anyway.
No, I'm winding this
Doesn't
up
matter.
because I want
All right.
to. So good on you, Tony. It's a shout out. Did you give a shout out to someone? You just gave a shout out to someone, didn't you? I'm giving a shout out to now MichaelChristianMenswear.com. Mike has retired.
This isn't Michael Christian,
No, not the AFL
AFL.
man. I had him. We interviewed him on here.
the boss of the
Michael Christian Menswear, who used to send the caps out to people who wrote in. Mick has now retired, so he's hanging up his haberdashery and his men's clothing line that you can get online.
His needles and cotton.
Yeah, his threads. That's right. And so, if you ever want any caps or T-shirts, Mick has passed the stock that he has on to us, and we can supply them because he was run ragged there for a while with people wanting the Smart as Sam caps and the peaks. Yeah.
Right.
So we're wishing Mick Christian
Yes.
well. He does a little radio gig down in Tasmania. and they're thinking of opening a nightclub down in Tasmania in
You
Hobart.
should go to the opening.
Yeah, what do you think a good name would be for it in Tasmania, a nightclub?
Tasmania,
Club Foot.
Club Foot. Oh, you and your gags, hey? Club.
Well done to Mick. Now, just reading out who he was giving a shout out to. He was giving out to Mark Colson from the Norwood. This is Norwood in Tasmania. The Norwood IGA.
Norwood IGA. Well, they're independently owned.
What's
the
IGA
IGAs.
mean?
IGA, Independent Grocers Association.
Well
I would have
done,
thought.
Duck. That's an acronym.
Yeah.
You know, an acronym is only an acronym if you can pronounce the word IGA. If it doesn't make a word, it's not an acronym. Contrary to what a lot of people think.
Yeah. Well, they say I've learned something again.
You have.
IGA, they're independently owned. They're very. There's some good ones and bad ones for that reason. Well, no, because there are.
What are the bad ones? They
Well,
don't have all the good
sometimes
stock.
Well, sometimes the fruit's not as ripe as you would have liked. Or
Oh, well, there's a nice
there's-
how do you
I'm
do.
not saying which one. I'm just saying there are good and bad IGAs.
They
Whereas you
keep-
go into then this is not hanging it on it. This is
Oh, no.
simply saying
Some of their fruit's no good.
I've got fruit from a particular IGA where I've got it home and realised it was off. But to their credit, I took it back.
How can we
and-
turn this into bag at IGA?
No, we're not bagging IGA.
They
They're
have
independently owned. We're not
different
bagging.
varieties of rosé. If you've been caught short and you've had to
I'll
actually
tell you what,
have-
the IGA liquor department is very good.
is it
Well, you can't have off. You can't get
off liquor?
You probably can.
Jesus.
No,
Their liquor
no.
department's
The
very good.
IGAs, in actual fact, that's pretty much. The great thing about IGAs are they are independently owned. They are all about grassroots sport. They're heavily involved in grassroots. So I love the fact that about IGA. I know, and we know Coles and Woolworths sponsor the AFL and all that, but I'm talking grassroots. IGA are very, very, very entrenched all around Australia because a lot of them are that's the only supermarket a lot of little
That's
country
it.
towns have.
So as long as you don't buy their fruit, they're
So
a
where
winner.
was that? Norwood in Tassie, IGA. Norwood, Tassie, IGA. Is that what you
Mark
said?
Colson.
There you go. Well, if you're looking for some...
Yeah, don't buy fruit there, but if you're looking for...
No.
Right, that's it. No, I'm coming back. I want to speak to you about sport. Jesus H. Christ.